Joining us now, Lorie Burch in Texas's 3rd District, running for United States Congress. Lorie, there's a lot of fun things about your race. You're running against a guy named Sam Johnson to replace Sam Johnson, but they're not the same Sam Johnson.
They're not.
And I interviewed Sam before, so I've also talked to your opponent. So talk to us about why you're the right person to represent the Democrats in this particular race.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me on. And we've had such an exciting turnout with our campaign. The message that we're resonating with is really hitting across the district, and we had a lot of energy and excitement throughout the campaign and throughout this runoff. And so our message of just inclusion and collaboration and trying to really make the people of the 3rd District of Texas feel like they're being heard and being represented is really getting out there and connecting. It's why we got 49.6% of the vote in the primary, and we're looking to close it out strong in a couple weeks here in the runoff.
So I'm not sure you've won enough awards though, Lorie, with because you were selected as a rising star by the super lawyers.
Right.
A group
Still
I
waiting for my cape.
did not know existed. Dallas Business Journal said you were one of the top women in business. Woman of the Year by Open Chapter of ABWA. That sounds fun. And
it's ABWA.
What is ABWA?
It's the American Business Women's Association.
Makes sense. And selected as the North Texas GLBT Chamber Business Person of the Year. Did they just mix up the letters in LGBT, or what is GLBT?
Well, you know, one thing that I always love is that we just can't seem to get the acronym together here. But actually, GLBT is a precursor to LGBT. And I wasn't in on the decision of why we switched the letters around, but I think it was to put women first because it's about time.
Oh, okay, all right. Bless their hearts. So now another fun thing that you do is you do meetings at taco joints.
Right.
What are they called?
Taco About Change.
Clever. I like it. Taco About Change. That's right after my own heart.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we do while we're eating tacos? Who comes? What do you do at these meetings?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that's most important is for our district to feel represented. And so I think we've done at least 10 or more throughout the campaign in different locations throughout the districts. Just had one last night. And we've been getting more and more turnout from over 50 people and just new faces every time. And really, it's just an opportunity. I think it's a new spin on the town hall. And it's really to talk about my thoughts and my position and our message, and to listen to people, their concerns, what's on their minds, what's on their hearts, the change they want to see, and for them to ask questions and grill me and get me ready for this general.
Right. Now, here's the situation, though. You're in an interesting spot because you're still in a Democratic primary. You got this runoff coming up, but it is a heavily Republican district. So I'm curious what your positions are going to be. One of your issues, you say represent the people, not partisan politics, and I hear a lot of people in Texas saying that. But what does that mean for you?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's really the key there, because we hear so often that this is a Republican district or a Republican state. And I would tell you only the people who are voting are. And I don't mean that in a flippant way, but the fact is I've been a Collin County voter my entire voting life, and there haven't been choices on the ballot, and they're getting choices this year. And it's a form of voter suppression in of itself, telling people that, you know, we can't have a Democrat elected, or it's only a conservative or Republican district, when most of the people aren't voting. And so our key has been a strong field ground game. It's very grassroots, which I'm learning is just a nice way of saying we don't have a lot of money, but we are reaching the hearts and minds of the people and getting them out to vote. We've had record turnout in voting, and we know the numbers, and that's the path to victory, is just getting people who don't feel heard, who don't feel represented, and who are disengaged and disgusted, frankly, with how they're seeing our elected leaders tune out and only be beholden to big donors and special interests, which is one reason why I am not taking a dime of money from any political action committee or special interests, even organizations I believe in, even organizations I've worked for, because it's the most consistent consistent thing I hear from the most diehard conservatives to most liberal progressives is that they are sick and tired of representatives representing big money donors and not the people who are really affected by the decisions that they're making.
Okay, now we're having a conversation. That's great. So that means you're uncorrupted and you're not taking that money. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit more specifically about the other issues. Healthcare. What's your stance on that?
I think that we have got to find a path forward to having universal health care. I'm very much in support of doing that. The first thing in getting elected is not to throw the baby out with the bathwater, and that is to fight any sort of efforts to take away what Obamacare has brought to us and try and improve on that, and to try and find a way where we can expand coverage for more people. It's one thing to have health insurance, it's another thing to have health care, and the costs are still out of control. And particularly when it comes to women, this is the time for women to really feel like they're being heard and represented. Texas is one of the number one in compared to other countries and developed countries in maternal mortality rates. And when you factor in those who have lower income and less means, it just gets worse. And so we've got to get to a place where healthcare is in fact a right for all and accessible for all. It builds our economy, it builds our schools, it builds our businesses, and it frankly makes us a better nation and a better community.
And I got to follow up though. So Medicare for all, are you in favor of it right now, or is that something that you'd want to go towards later?
I think that you can't just, and I apologize for the screen here. I don't know what we have going on here. I think that you've got to ease into something like that, that anything that you can't day one have everything just change over. So you've got to figure a way to progress to that. One of the biggest things though, when we're talking about that, or even affordable education and having opportunities there, is we've got to look at our budget and how we're spending our money and learn how and where we can find better allocations to that. So it's got to be an integrated process. Maybe the start is a public option, but the important thing is that we don't have our elected leaders having those conversations with each other and with the people that they represent. So one of the greatest lessons I've learned in leadership is that sometimes when you listen to other people, they have better ideas than you do, but the ultimate goal needs to be getting to having more equal access to health care so that we can have everybody in this country being able to participate and rise to any opportunity that we're presented with, and not only those that are in the top 1% or have means.
I hear you. I mean, I listen to a lot of people. I'm not sure anybody's got better ideas than me. But okay, fine. If you're going to represent folks. Okay, one more question for you, Lorie. Criminal justice reform, you have that as a priority. What does that mean for you?
I think, well, first of all, one of the experiences that I had in college is I worked as an investigator with the Public Defender Service for Washington, D.C., and I got to see firsthand how we have two systems of justice in this country based on the color of your skin and how much money's in your pocket. And I think it's critical that we understand and recognize and have people who will speak truth to power of the systemic racism that we have in our criminal justice, and be willing to accept that and understand and hold a mirror up to where we are, to look at how we have our community policing, to how we have sentencing, and how different people experience justice based off of money and color and race. And that's something that's always been a passion of mine, and something that I would like to dedicate my career. I've already have in what I've done, but certainly in politics when it comes to providing more equality and equal justice for all.
Talk about change. Okay. All right, Lorie Burch running in the 3rd District in Texas for Congress. It's an interesting primary you've got coming up, obviously, and then it'll be a hell of a battle in the general, and we're looking forward to that battle.
All right, I'll talk to you then.
Yes, all right. Talk to you soon.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.